Good morning, guys. It is the morning after. Thank my metabolism gods that I never get hangovers. It's like 9. I have no food at no breakfast food at the house, so I'm walking down the street to this Caribbean restaurant to pick up some breakfast there. Back home in bed, eating breakfast, doing a split screen action with documents on Google Drive and UpToDate. Working on some stuff that I've been working on for 2 weeks. Finally turning it in next week on before the 10th. Update, I've moved to my table, the same table that I record the morning things that I actually haven't recorded in a while, now that I think about it. It's better to work at a table instead of in my bed. Okay, folks, it's about 6:11, 6:15-ish. I'm leaving the house. I want to get to the hospital earlier. Like, usually I would go in for 6:45, but this is my first night float covering 5 teams. It could be like 60 patients. And I want to print out my list and get everything ready. Do you hear all that background noise? My neighborhood is lit on this Saturday. Okay, I am in the conference room. I have printed all my patient lists. It is a relatively thick stack, it looks like. I haven't counted how many patients, but it's a lot of pages. So we just had to run up to a code. A patient was coding. They unfortunately didn't make it. We had a debrief after. Haven't had sign out yet. This happened during sign out. Going to get sign out now. Something I like to do, which I don't know who does it or who doesn't do it or whatever, is I take my list and I make the rounds. I put eyes on the patients. I at least want to see who I'm treating, even though it's so many of them. Look at all this paper. You're basically running the list always throughout the night. You're keeping track of what needs to be done. I'll actually show you guys this little trick that helps you stay on top of what needs to be done for which patients in which rooms, and you kind of create a sort of schedule for yourself. There's going to be some inconvenience throughout the night because our EMR system is getting updated, so there's things that I have to do ahead of time to get past that, which kind of makes the beginning of my shift a little more hectic than it should be. So I'm covering patients on 3 floors, so I have to keep taking the stairs up and down to go see the patients. Some patients need tests like ABGs, arterial blood gas, and there's this little kit, and it has everything you need in this kit to draw the blood. I have this little biohazard bag. I need to fill it with ice because the specimen needs to be on ice. A nurse just paged me telling me she couldn't get a patient's blood pressure. I'm not really sure what to tell her except to keep trying, or try a different machine, or try to do it manually, or go to the nurse manager or the charge nurse. Like, I'm not exactly sure what she wants me to do. So I just went to check on the patient, and she said she could get a blood pressure on, and then they got a blood pressure. I feel like, not to bitch, but that was an unnecessary page that took me out of my way to go upstairs for no reason. I feel like you should try again, try 3 times before you page me. Don't, after the first time, page me and then interrupt everything that I'm doing. Pretty much it's just been back-to-back pages, updates on people's vital signs, if their heart rates are elevated, if their blood pressures are too high or too low. It's about 10 right now. I need to do some labs on some patients, and some people need CBCs because they are either having a GI bleed or vaginal bleeding. Some people need ABGs because they are COPD and on BiPAP. So I'm just collecting all my little kits right now, and hopefully I can hit them back to back to back without getting paged, but so far it's like a page every 5 minutes or something like that. The stress level is starting to pick up a bit. I was not able to do those labs. It is 10:10, I still have time, but the pages just keep coming in, and I need to physically put eyes on these patients whenever I get notified for something significant. There are certain medications that only doctors are allowed to administer, and I have to go administer one of those right now. Whew, I was hella stressed earlier because the EMR going down means everything needs to be done before the EMR goes down, and hi. Good. It's going down in 23 minutes. So I made it. Whew. Oh, that was a lot of fog. The on-call room, I don't even have the energy to fix up myself on the bed. Computer there, phone there to reply for pages, got a fan going. Small room, nothing special, but able to lay down for a second. I think the only thing I will be paged for that I'm expecting is a Dilaudid push. Dilaudid is one of the medications that nurses are not allowed to administer at this hospital, so only MDs can do it. And there's a sickle cell patient in a lot of pain, so that's why he's on Dilaudid. That's what I'm expecting. There's always going to be other things. I just did an ABG on a patient, or an arterial blood gas. That's to determine their oxygen saturation and to see if they're retaining any bicarbonate. So the lab may or may not call me with the results from that. I did 2 CBCs, but I'm not expecting the hemoglobin to be anything dramatic. It's for monitoring. Both the patients have bleeds, but their hemoglobin was good to begin with. So if it drops, I don't expect it to be anything dramatic. Nothing necessary for a blood transfusion or anything like that. Yeah. Let me see if I can get some Z's. I didn't order any food, and restaurants are gonna close soon. So almost like low-key fell asleep. Then I got paged for a patient who is trached in some respiratory distress. Paged the respiratory, got some advice from them. I don't mind being paged for a patient. Like, obviously I'm caring for the patient, so let me know what's going on with them. But that's the point. Let me know what's going on with them. Like, why page me? And you don't remember the patient's name. You don't remember the patient's room. If I ask any follow-up medications, like, do they have any medications due? That you can answer that. I don't understand why you page me and say the blood pressure is 150 over 90, let's just say. And you don't know if that's their usual blood pressure. You don't know what medication they have due. You don't know if they received the previous blood pressure medication. Like, I feel like you should have all of that information gathered before you ask me these questions, because that's what I'm gonna ask. If their blood pressure is high, I'm gonna ask if they got their blood pressure medication. So you should know that, right? And I think that's a disconnect between doctors and nurses. I feel like there should be a meeting where we say, from the doctor side, where we say what we expect when we get paged, and from the nurse's side, what they expect when they page us. Because there's a disconnect, and it just doesn't make sense. Not to be completely negative, Nancy. Sometimes I'll get pages from nurses and they'll say, hey, blood pressure is 109 over 72. They have this and this medication due. Do you want me to hold it? And then I'll decide what I want to do with the medication. And then they'll say, hey, went to go check on this patient. On room air, they were saturating 88, 89%. I put them on nasal cannula, 2 liters. Now they're saturating at, 93, 94%. Those pages, solid, packed with information, gives me everything I need to know. Instead of me having to ask for these things. And then you would ask, for another person, you would ask, did you put them on oxygen? And then they would say, no. And then you say, can you put them on oxygen and let me know what the oxygen saturation is? And then it's just an extra step, The people who take the initiative, I love it. Taking some time now, it's like 1:17 a.m. Taking some time now to review or to follow up notes. In the handoff, some people were like, follow up what nephrology or neurology said for this patient so they know the game plan for tomorrow in the daytime. Additionally, for the labs that I drew tonight, last night, whatever, looking at the results of those. Some people are anemic and we need to monitor their hemoglobin and make changes to medications or to put in an order for blood transfusion if the hemoglobin is too low. You might notice, what is this? You might notice there's no senior here with me. You're kind of not on your own, but you're kind of you're left to manage the floors. Your senior is available whenever you need them, of course, but it's kind of like you are the primary contact person for the nurses, for the lab, for the pharmacy, for imaging, for anything. And if you need them, then you contact your senior. For orders, for any medication that I'm ordering, definitely contacting the senior. For any vital signs or labs that are significant that we didn't talk about prior, like for example, in sign out, if we get a sign out to monitor someone's blood pressure and my senior says, hey, if the blood pressure is above such and such with a pulse of such and such, then do this, and I get notified that the blood pressure is such and such, heart rate such and such, then I just do whatever we had discussed. That's not something that I would need to call again and clarify because we discussed it prior. Yeah. And when I text my senior, it's with a plan. So patient in whatever room is asking for sleep medication, and I say, hey, they're asking for sleep meds. I looked at their chart, everything's good. Can I give Benadryl 50 milligrams? You know? Honey, returning your page? Refusing meals? Okay, I'm coming. So I've been calling CT scans since, there's construction happening to the rooms we're renovating. Anyway, I've been calling CT scans since I came in, and they have not answered. I'm gonna physically go down there and find out what the hell is going on. So the situation is the regular CT is not open 24 hours. It's only the emergency room CT, and this is a hospital that takes traumas, so regular patients on the floor have a lower priority to traumas. So when there's no trauma, then I can get my patients in. I'm not really a coffee drinker, but I ordered it anyway, and egg and ham on a bagel. Refilled my Brita. Just got some food. I'm going to eat it here in the lobby, which is so weird that it's so quiet and empty right now. The only reason I'm doing this is because it's close to the emergency room, and I have a patient who should be getting a CT scan hopefully sometime soon, and the doctor needs to administer the contrast for the IV. So I just want to stay close instead of going upstairs and having to come back downstairs. But if the patient doesn't come down for the CT scan now, no harm done. At least I'm sitting somewhere and actually getting something to eat. Where's the coffee? I ordered a coffee. I got about 3 bites in before I got paged, and it's something critical that I have to go to the computer for. So I'm upstairs, and I'm probably gonna have to go back downstairs in a couple minutes. Another thing that should happen, which I don't think this would ever happen, but like, if you're going to page the doctor covering the floor, and you're person A, and you need to page the doctor, person B also needs to page the doctor, person C also needs to page the doctor, why not make like a general statement in the nurse's station saying, hey, paging this doctor, what do we have to tell him? I have 3 different pages, all from the 11th floor. I'm already going up there. I have to stop, go to a phone, answer the page, stop, go to the phone, answer the page. I'm already coming to 11. All right, all done. Just gave sign out to the day team. It's the intern's responsibility to run sign out. I forgot a few things here and there, and my senior backed me up. She said it was overall an okay job, good job, whatever. It was my first night, and I think I handled it okay. It was a relatively calm night. No call, just one call. That was the first thing at the beginning of the shift. But it was, I think, an overall good call because I just had to worry about the patients on the floor, no emergencies.